Okay, so we're going to do another Fusion 360 tutorial for the two CAD activities that we put on for the 16th of the 3rd. So this was what we did last Friday, I think it was. So let's just start with the simpler of the CAD model. So this is figure T67. And the first thing that I'm looking at when I'm making this CAD model is to see, what simple shape can I begin with? And then obviously once I've done that, how can I start adding or subtracting matter to make it a little bit more intricate. So what I'm actually going to do to begin with is I'm looking at this shape here and looking over here, and I'm saying, okay, so everything within this particular shape could either fit within a cube or could be built from this bottom platform here. And I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to start from this bottom platform here, build that, and then start adding this cylinder here and then these two uprights over here. So that's how I think I'm going to begin. So the first thing I need to know is what is going to be the base size for my plate. So I'm going to do 25 plus 70, which gives me 95, and then I also need to add on this circumference here. So it's a 60 diameter of 60 across this circle, which obviously means that if I add from the midpoint of the circle outwards, it's going to be 30. So I'm going to have 125 millimeters across by 60. So come to Fusion, create a new sketch. It's going to be a base view. Get my rectangle tool. It's going to be 60 tab 125. So you can see I've put the measurements in there. Okay, now we're good to go. So when I look at this object, the first thing I'm going to do is give it its extrusion to make it a platform. So that's a 15 millimeter extrusion. So I come across again, always working with solids, extrude, 15. Okay, so I've got my base shape there to work with. And then what I'm going to do straight away is actually add this circular part here. So if I look at it here, this larger circle has a diameter of 50, this smaller circle has a diameter of 24, okay, and I also know that there is a 5 millimeter gap inwards to this point here. So if I have 25 for my radius here plus 5, it means I'm bringing the center point in 30 millimeters from the end. So I'm going to create a new sketch, line, find the middle where it has a triangle, bring it in 30. I'm going to draw two lines straight away. What I should actually do before I do that is actually draw the curve here. So if I've got a radius of diameter of 60, I'm going to bring it in 30 straight away. Draw my circle, and the first thing I should do actually is get rid of this. So I'm going to do a solid, I'm going to do a negative extrusion to get rid of that, and now I've got this shape here. And once I've done that, then I'm going to do a new sketch. I'm going to bring it in 30 again. So bring it in 30. Like I said, the larger circle we were working with had a diameter of 50, so I'll do that. The second one had a diameter of 24, so I'll do that. And then obviously when I look at it, I'm putting a hole through the bottom and I'm raising it up 5 millimeters as well. So what I'm going to do first, I'll do solid, extrude, bring it up 5, press enter, then I'll select this face here, extrude, negative 15, and there we go, we've got that shape there now. Once I've done that, I want to build up these two side parts here. So the first thing I can see is that I've got a radius of 50, a diameter of 50 that I'm working with, so that means I need to raise up that section 50 millimeters. Okay, and then obviously it's got a width of 15 as well. So I'm going to do a 15 by 50. So create a new sketch here. So I'm going to do this twice. 15, tab 50. Okay, I'll do it again here. 15, tab 50. Press enter. Now I need to do an extrusion on both of these, and we're going up 50 as well, like so. And the next thing I want to do is actually round the edges on both of these. So I'm going to create a new sketch, and then I'm going to round the edges. So I know that it's got a diameter of 50. I've done that now. So I'm going to highlight both of these. Let's try that again. Highlight both of them, and I'm going to do an extrusion. -60. So I've done the circle right now, and now all I need to do is actually do the I'll show you these circular parts on the outside. So we've got those circles. We want to bring them out another 5 millimeters, so they actually overhang the edge by 5 millimeters, and then we need to push a hole through them as well. So we'll do the 5 millimeters first. So the larger part's 50, the smaller diameter is 20. Fairly straightforward. New sketch. So we'll start by doing that. Solid, extrude, 5 millimeters. Press enter. Then I'll do the same thing over here. New sketch. Use the circle tool. Find the middle. Extrude it out 50 to another 5 millimeter extrusion. So we've got that. And then the last thing that we need to do is to actually put a hole through it. So another sketch. Find the midpoint, 20, and then we can use that to do our final extrusion. So if I look at it, I'm going to go -60. No, actually I need to go -70 because we've added another 10 millimeters to it. And there we have that final shape. And if we put it in free orbit, that's exactly what we're looking for. Alright, so that's our first object that we needed to do, figure T67. We'll move on to the second one now, slightly more difficult. This interesting shape here, so all I'm going to do is create a new design. And when I look at this shape here, I need to think about how am I actually going to produce this drawing. So when I look at it, what I am thinking is I'm going to try to draw this shape out here, and then have that skeleton, so then I can start actually subtracting stuff from it. So the other thing I'm going to do is, because it's got such an intricate design on each side, I'm actually going to build it in half and then mirror it at the end so that I can build the second half of it. So the basic shape, or the basic size that I'm working with for this project, is obviously going to be 120 millimeters off the ground, and then it comes in 25 to the midpoint of that circle. So if I do 125 plus 40, it gives me 165. So 165 by 20 in the side view. Let's try that. So 120 tab 165. Okay, so this is the basic shape that we're working with. Now what I'm going to start doing is just start drawing components. So first thing I'm going to draw is I'm going to draw this 65 by 18 base. So I've got this basic shape at the bottom here. And then I'm going to actually start drawing these radiuses in. So if you look at this drawing here, we've got a radius of 6 that builds up from the bottom of this base. So what I need to draw from up here is a really small radius, a small circle. And what you can see now is all we're going to be using is this really small radius here, but we need that whole circle there for now. Now, the next thing that we need to draw is this big radius of 18. And it is coming up 53 millimeters from this point here. So what I'm going to do straight away is draw a line straight up 53, just and this will eventually be, actually I'll make it a construction line so I don't need to delete it. So this gives me some height to work with. Then the next thing we need to do is this radius of 18 needs to somehow line up with this radius of 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if it's got a radius of 18, I want to know in this line here how low my center point is going to be. So if I just put a line there measured to 18, I've got this point here that tells me, where the radius is going to be. Then all I'm going to do is bring a line in 18 millimeters again. Okay. And now I know where my circle is going to start from. So I'm going to turn that into a construction line. I'm going to turn this into a construction line as well. And I can use that. That's actually not correct. Let me back up a second. So let's follow the same process, but this time what I'll do is I'll draw the 53. So this is the widest part of my circle. Okay, it's got a radius of 6. If I'm coming from there, I'm drawing a line up. I'm going to do 53, bring it up to the same point. 53 minus 6 gives me 47, so I know that's correct. Now that I've got that, let me delete this line. Let me delete this line. Turn this line into a construction line. I'm going to draw a line straight down of 18. I'm going to draw a line across of 18. Okay. Turn that into a construction line as both of these into construction lines. Because all I want to do with both of those lines is get a bearing for where this larger circle needs to begin. Now the reason for that is because if we look back at our drawing, this small radius and this large radius need to line up in a straight line. Okay, so I've done that. That is good. So now I can get my pencil tool, draw a line from here to there, and that works. So as you can see, we've got that kind of shape there. The next thing that we need to do is draw this other shape here that is 12 mil thicker all the way around than this first one. So the way that we're going to do that, is by using these same center points for our circles, and all I'm going to do is draw a line across 12 mil there, and draw a line across from here so that it's 12 mil as well. Okay, again we're going to use these as construction lines, and what you're actually going to start seeing is that there's going to be a lot of circles and lines and shapes on this drawing that you need to keep there till we do our final selection for extrusion. So again, from the center point, I'm drawing a circle right out, but now I know that there's a curve that is 12 millimeters wider than on the other side. So I press escape, and then I can use this to produce that shape that I require. So what I can see now is I've got this shape here, okay, and then I've got this curve, all these little parts that I'll add together to produce the shape that I require. Now that we've done that, we need to continue building on from here. So we've done this curve. Now we've made it so that it keeps curving around. Now we need to straighten it off, and we need to know where it ends. And we find out that it ends halfway at 125 millimeters across. So what we're going to do from here is I'm going to draw a line firstly to the top of this circle here. Now if I draw it all the way across here, what I can then do, turn it into a construction line again, both of them, so they're not interfering. But now I'm going to draw another line across, so we know that this is 165. We want to minus 40, so that it becomes 125. So now I know that if I zoom in, this is where that section of the drawing should end. Now it's frozen a little bit, but did that work? Let me try that again. Okay, we've got that there. So let me just delete that first. So now we can see it. I'll delete that too. No, I won't. Control Z. Turn that into construction. And this becomes our actual drawing there. I'll do the same thing over here. Now we've got that shape that we need to work with. And the next thing we're going to do is we need to draw, obviously, this big shape over here. Now, obviously at the bottom here, we've got this cylinder. What I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to leave it because I don't really want to worry about that right now. I'm just going to draw this part upwards from here. So this circle comes in 80 millimeters. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to bring a line in 80 millimeters. I'm going to drop it down, and for now I'm going to leave that as it is. Now the last thing that I want to do before I do an extrusion is this spine that's over here. Now it seems quite easy, but once we do these two curves, it'll make it a lot easier for us. But we've got to get through a 12 radius, a 12 millimeter radius, and a 42 millimeter radius. So let's do the 12 mil radius first. So obviously it comes up to the top here. All I'm going to do is bring the line in 12 mil. Now what do I want to do? So I want the curve to be the bottom part of a circle. So what I'm actually going to do, I want my circle to sit on this point here, because I want to get that what I need is actually this part of the curve right there. So I'm going to use that part of the curve as I require. I'm going to draw a line straight down here just to get the right intersecting point now. So I've got this part done. Let's just have a look at our drawing again. Now we need to produce this second part of the curve, and what we also need to now think about is where they intersect. So from that same point, from this same point, I now need to have a radius of 42. So I'm just going to draw another line straight down. That's going to be 24. That wasn't what I wanted. Let's draw a line straight down from this point here. 24. Sorry, 42 times 2 is 84. Now this is quite a big line. So first thing I'm going to do is turn that into a construction line. Get rid of the measurement just to clear out my drawing. And now I need to draw a circle all the way up to that point there. That's taking a little bit of time to load. It's alright. Okay. Now, as you can see, we've now got this curved shape here, but we can't use that completely because we need to turn it into a straight line. So if you have a look here, we've got a measurement here of 24, and then at that point, when we come across, this curve ends. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure down from this point, draw a line down 24, and we see where that ends, and then we need to draw a line straight across so that it intersects with our circle. Okay, now I'm going to delete that line. I'll delete that line too. But now we've got an intersecting point here. For some reason that doesn't look right. A radius of 42. Just bear with me for a second, guys. 6, a radius of 12. That's a radius of 12, which means that's going to be 24. That's a radius of 12. It's a radius of 84. That is correct. Because this circle's too big. Just bear with me, guys. Let me try that again. Let me get rid of that. I want this circle to have a 42. Let's draw a radius of 42. Let's try that again. Okay. Create our circle. Done. Now loads. Like I said before, let's draw a line down now 24, and like I said, you're just going to see that this thing is going to have so many lines that you've somehow got to keep control of it yourself. So you just got to be very aware of what you're doing. Now again, the reason why I draw that line across, because that's our measurement there, and then from this point here we draw a line straight across like that. Now there's obviously some lines and measurements that we can delete to clear up our drawing, but not a whole lot. You need to be careful because some of the lines you need for our extrusion, so be careful not to delete any of the circles or things like that. The last thing that we need to do is what I'm going to do, even though it's got this part at the bottom here, I'm just going to build this cylinder at first from the top there and then add on to that afterwards. So I'm just going to draw a line straight across from here. Now when I do my extrusion, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to extrude from the middle. So I'm going to do a 7mm extrusion of this shape here, and then I'm going to do a much larger extrusion, so 92 divided by 2, a 46mm extrusion of the front part. So how we do that, I select all of these parts from the spine like that. I then do solid, extrude 7, I press enter. Now it looks like everything's gone, but if I come back to sketches, come back to my initial sketch, what I can then do, what you should be able to, is actually edit it again. Edit that sketch. So now I've already selected this part here. Now what I'm going to do is select these other components. Now just be careful with what you're selecting. You want to make sure that you're selecting all of these components. And when I just look at the drawing again, yep, I've got all of that. And also what I need to select is this over here too. So I'm going to select this cylinder, this shape here. And we're going to extrude that 92 divided by 2, which is 46. Solid, extrude 46. Press enter. So what you can see now is that we've got this spine shape. Okay, so we've got this spine shape that we can now work with. So the first thing I'm going to do, if I look at this drawing here, is I'm going to draw this circle in the middle. So I know that it's 28 from the outside, 20 in from the wall, and it's a 16mm diameter. So let's do a new sketch. Just looking at it again, 28 from the back, 20 in from the wall. So 20 enter. Sure it was that. Yep. 28 from the back. So that's 23. So what I need to do is bring it in 3 millimeters. And now I've got the location I need, and it's a 16 millimeter diameter. 16, press enter, and then control. Let's do a negative extrusion. It's going to be minus, how thick was the base? Base was 18, so go minus 18. Now it's got a hole in it, so we know that it's being done correctly. Alright. So how can I hide this sketch? There we go. So now, for me, the last thing that we need to do is actually produce this semicircle. So I'm going to select the top face, and I want to draw onto it. And we're drawing a cylinder that has a diameter of 80. So straight away we know where it begins. So I want to go find the midpoint. I'm going to draw a construction line all the way across it. And what we're going to do is we're going to mirror this part of the object onto the other side. So what I want is to draw a circle that is 80 millimeters from the center. So I've done that, and now I want to actually get this part of it. I want to drop it down. So if I look at my drawing here, I need to drop it down so that it touches my thing there. So let's just find the right view to be working with. Not that one. We'll rotate it. Actually, that will be the right one. So now we're going to do a negative extrusion. And we're only going to extrude it let's go to 37 because that might be exactly, yep, there we go. Press enter. Now it looks like that, which actually doesn't replicate what we need here. So because we've got all this extra stuff here, what we're going to do now is we're going to draw another sketch from here. Get a line, find the midpoint of the circle, draw a line across, highlight that, solid, extrude, -12. Okay, now that's more like it. That is what our object should look like now. Okay, so that's been done. The last thing that we need to do now is create the hole, or half a hole, and then mirror it. So this small hole has a diameter of 40 millimeters. So we're going to create a new sketch here from the midpoint. 40, select it, solid, extrude it. We're going to do a negative extrusion. Okay, so now that's become a semicircle. And finally, the last thing we need to do is add an extra 6 millimeters onto the bottom of this lip. So it's quite a simple task. So I'm going to look at it from the bottom. Okay. Just to make sure there's no issues. Yep, there's no issues there. So now I want to look at it from the bottom. I want to create a new sketch for over here. What we're going to do is we're just going to find the midpoint here. We're going to create 2 circles. 1, 2. Okay. Then all we need to do is actually just select both of them. Oh, not that. Let's draw a line across it maybe. Yeah, that's better. Select that. Select that. Solid. Extrude 6. And we've actually created that shape there now. So if we were to look at this, this now replicates that shape that we've just designed, but that's not finished. So once we've done all of that, we need to mirror it. So if we come here to modify, where is it? Where's my mirror? Here we go. To create a mirror, that's what we want to do. Asks us what object we want to select. So the bodies, I'm just selecting both those bodies. Then it asks me for a plane that I want to mirror from, and I want to mirror from this plane right here. And what you can see already is that it's actually produced a silhouette of where it's going to model. If I press OK to that mirror, then all of a sudden I've created that object. What you can then do, I'm pretty sure if you select everything, is we should be able to join it. Combine them both, and that becomes the one object that we need. So there we go. That is the second of our fusion activity. So just showing you again, we've done that first activity there for this fairly simple bracket, and then we've done this more intricate design here. Hopefully that gives you the chance now to go home to watch this tutorial and to produce these functions yourself. Okay, so good luck, and I'll see you guys in class.